Hi Jason, how are you?
I am good, thank you. Happy to be taking a moment here to look at the NOFA Summer Conference program with you. And um, for those that are watching this video, hi, NOFA, Friends of NOFA. I am Jason Valcourt, the NOFA Summer Conference Coordinator, as well as the NOFA Podcast voice. And I am joined by our NOFA Mass Education Director, Ulum Pixan, newly anointed education director of the last few months, I suppose. And we are here just to look at the program for the NOFA Summer Conference, talk about a couple of the workshops that are happening. So we've been discussing these workshops, and we thought we would do this recording and share with you so you can hear about it, get excited with us, and hopefully join us for the conference, which is happening July 30th to August 6th online via Zoom. And on Thursday, July 15th, which is prior to the conference, we are having a fireside chat with Ray Archuleta and Christine Jones, a casual conversation between the two of them to discuss a couple of conversation points provided by our NOFA Mass Soil Tech team, or as we affectionately like to refer to them, or they like to be referred to as the Soil Nerds. I think we're going to have to make some t-shirts at some point.
Yeah, that would be fun. I mean,
Soil Nerd t-shirts.
you will
And
have to have a worm somewhere.
a worm, and yeah, somehow illustrate the, other things that are under the soil
Hmm.
that make our work so interesting and fascinating,
Yeah,
that are so underappreciated.
right? It's under the rug of
That's right.
grass, I guess.
That's right. Yeah, they do so much work down there and they get no appreciation.
I can relate sometimes. Probably you too. You've been organizing that conference for a while.
Yeah, yeah, I have. Yeah, this is number six, and it's a lot of fun. But I get opportunities like this where I feel very appreciated. So,
Okay.
um, but there is a element that is unknown by many unless you've organized events before as to how much work goes in behind the scenes, how many months it takes to organize, how many emails, how many phone calls, um, and and how many of those phone calls also on a good side, turn into like conversations about soil and microbes and community gardens, and just makes it all that much more fun.
Hmm. And next workshops for next conference.
Yeah, the next one. Yeah, always the next one. So we've pulled together a couple workshops here, Ulum, and
Yeah.
um, the category that I've been excited about lately is talking about some of the tools for growers that, some of
Mhm.
these workshops that address growing tools, or, helping growers get more assets for their toolbox and what they can take to their land. And right off the bat, there's a handful of those that jumped out at me. One is to start with this session presented by Nigel Palmer, The Regenerative Grower's Guide to Garden Amendments, which is the title of his book that was recently put out.
Mhm.
And that's going to address something that's really cool, making amendments, uh, making your own amendments.
Yeah, this, you know, 10 years ago, I would be like, why he didn't wrote it ban?
I know.
But probably takes you 10 years to write a book. Um, I don't know, at least it would take me 10 years. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. Um, I think it's something that the minute you start gardening, you start figuring out that you don't know as much as you
Hmm.
thought you knew. And it's great to have somebody that have been doing this for a while and studying this for a while and actually presented it in a way that is ethical,
Mm.
that is not a commercial answer, but it's more like a, an answer that a lot of us are looking for. And, the way it looks is not something that is just a thought that he had. Um, so I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this one. And I'm gonna spoil the surprise. But I think if you starting farming or you're an old farmer, I think it's very fresh. It's the stuff that we talked about as farmers all the time. And as an educator, I think it's something we talk about a lot. So yeah, eco-friendly, ethical. So that's basically the work we're doing. So I'm excited that we're going to start with something this fun.
Yeah, yeah, well said. I agree. I love that. It's so within reach for whoever wants to do it. Like you said, not commercial and simple. Because I've spoken with him for the podcast, and it's simple. It doesn't take a lot to do these things, and to so why seek off farm inputs? Go purchase things, and um, when you can put in a little bit of effort, which farmers don't mind doing, and get your own stuff made. So I love this. I mean, I haven't bought the book yet still, which I keep threatening to buy the book, and I do want it in my home. um, Maybe this is the reminder I need, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that session for sure.
We might be able to make and sign those books,
Right.
if you're in there to make a list of.
That's right. We'll get some signed copies going.
It'll be
Yeah,
fun.
I like that. Um, yeah, and we have a season extension workshop here with Al Johnson, who is a longtime NOFA New Jersey member, and he is presenting Feeling the Chill, Stretching the Organic Garden into the Fall. And this is a great asset, of course, for most, I think farmers that are starting out that are realizing I need to have marketable crops longer than I, would naturally if I were just gardening. And it becomes very important to be able to keep your stuff protected into the fall, and even keep growing things into the fall. And someone with a lot of experience like Al, and he just can speak to a lot of different aspects of the journey. He's been on the journey for many years, so um, it's always exciting to extend the season,
Yeah.
and to grow beyond what you know we might naturally think of as just the summertime where you're eating tomatoes and then it's over.
Yeah, season extension I think is probably vital for survival of some farms. I mean, the season is so short in New England, and if you're not really a seasoned farmer, sometimes you miss one plant day and you're upside down in your budget. Or so yeah, I think like you say is a rate of tools. And this is one that a lot of us talk about as farmers.
Hmm.
How can I extend it? How can I um, start early? I mean, I think this the extension is both ways. It's before or after. It's chilly in both ends,
Yep.
as you said. So let's this is gonna be an interesting one. And like somebody with so much experience, um, and coming from from the farmer to farmer idea,
Yeah.
of peer learning. I'm really excited about. Um, and also, it's not just about season extension, but also storage techniques and um, you know, how to figure out lunar planting and season
Mhm.
planting is also important. So it's gonna be. I'm really excited to hear what did that look like.
Yeah, storage techniques always get me excited. There's something about, being able to do that right that I always get excited about that. And um, I love hearing about it and other people's techniques. Yeah, and in the description here, he has for appropriate crops and varieties, planting dates, rotations, fertility, and simple storage techniques. And I think it's just you can't get enough of that information, really. Like,
Yep.
you know, after all the years, like you still want to hear about, because it's ever evolving too. Like you might have decided this is how I'm going to do a rotation, or this is when I'm going to plant for the fall, and that changes and it's changing in other ways. And
Mhm.
I think you just can't get enough of hearing someone's experience about that, and uh, yeah, just ever learning about it, really. So,
Yeah, and also like it's so exciting that he also knows the side of the organic inspection and like is able to like also add that on because I think one of the first things I learned um, about the differences in between organic and non-organic is like a lot of people try to grow the vegetables in a non-organic way,
hmm
um, and you get hooked into it and depend on it, and to some point it's unsustainable. So I like the trend. So it's a great segue from the first one. So I'm loving it.
yeah, same here. And yeah, it's a good point too, because Al, he's been an inspector and just been involved for so long. He's seen so many farms
Hmm.
and how they do it. So not only is it his experience, he's also got a lot of experience just watching what people are doing, and that adds a lot to your information base too. So
Yep.
yeah, yeah. Al's also presenting, which maybe we'll talk about another time. He's been pulling together this history of NOFA, doing interviews throughout the region, and he is actually kicking off the conference with the 50 years of NOFA presentation. So on Friday, July 30th at 7 p.m., we'll have our NOFA annual meeting, which is a brief meeting, and then the presentation pulled together by Al and getting assisted by Chadley, who's up in New Hampshire, and who's doing the video editing, and they've been deep into that project. He's been traveling around, interviewing folks that were getting NOFA started over in the 70s, and
Hmm.
it's been a fantastic process for me to watch a little bit on the outside as he's been traveling and meeting people, and I'm excited for what they pulled together. It's looking great so far, and I just think Al's a great deep resource on these things and just such a nice guy too.
Awesome.
So here we are with using tarps for no-till organic vegetable production by Amelia Mead. I think you and I are both excited about that one.
Yeah, I have not used this method. Um,
hmm
I have my feelings about certain things, but I have heard, and I actually have heard many good things about it. Um, and to see it in a way that think about this things that I had my reservations with is so good because it seems like um, the idea is there. Like I think is that like okay, we're gonna do this. How we can do it that is worth using it. And yeah, how can you keep your soil health?
Yeah,
It's so important for me.
yeah, yeah. I think that's it, right? It's wait a minute, when I put harp down, isn't that just going to destroy everything I'm working toward? And yeah, yeah. I think I like that in this description. She's saying we can do this in a way that's what's not. It can remain beneficial. And I think there is an art. I haven't figured it out. I have just used tarps to smother. I really just used tarps. I think I've left them on too long at times. Right now, I'm using a tarp to smother some horse nettle, and so I'm actually going to leave it on there, and so um, it's going to be on there for some time because I need it to go away. That horse nettle is very,
Yes.
uh,
Man, nettles in general, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I don't know if there's a nice redeeming quality for horse nettle.
The
So,
flowers are beautiful.
right, right. It's true. They kind of look like an eggplant flower, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I bought some plants this spring from Bill Braun at Ivory Silo, um, down in Dartmouth, Massachusetts, and he had some tarps out, and it was nice to see him using that. And he was being very careful with the timing, and so I haven't gotten good at that either. So
Yeah, we have questions, that's for sure.
yeah,
So I'm excited about it. And also, I think like it's a lot of questions. I get this from farmers all the time. It's like, okay, you know, you're telling me that we use this cover crop. How we get rid of it? If you don't want us to till. And I think tarping is a good way. I don't use that method, but I think it could be a good way to just kill it without a lot of effort or without heavy machinery.
yeah,
So I'll
yeah,
be there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exciting. Um, and Amelia Amelia's with Astarte Farm, and she works with Dan Pratt, and um, they've also done a lot of work with hemp growing and um, no-till cannabis production. So they have an interesting background over there too, with a lot of depth as well. Astarte Farm has been around for quite some time, and highly revered in Western Massachusetts.
Yeah, and I'm really excited also to ask what was her experience back in the old country for me. Oh, how was the permaculture experiences that she has back home?
Mm. Yeah. All right. Now there's a segment here that I really get excited about, which is workshops related to like single crop production, like one like narrow scope.
Mhm.
And we have two particular ones on the program here: Understanding Asparagus with Christie Higginbottom, and Success with Blueberries from Lee Reich. We other one that's a little bit different. It's not addressing the crop itself. It's addressing hand-scaled bed prep systems for carrots and lettuce, which is being presented by our one of our keynote speakers, Jen Salinetti, whom runs and owns Woven Roots Farm out in Tyringham, Massachusetts, which we're glad to have her. And so there's two of them. One is Understanding Asparagus, which I love my asparagus crop. I don't know. Do you have asparagus on your land?
So my partner has a couple Yugo culture beds off the farm because I don't let him. No, just joking. No, he likes some spots near um, places that he loves to spend, and he likes to munch and stuff fresh. And he has asparagus. I planted some strawberries and asparagus this year. See how they go. Um, I love asparagus. I just it's not something that I had grown before, so I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
Perennials are amazing.
Yeah, that's it really. There's not a lot of perennial food crops.
Mhm.
And I'm totally enamored with asparagus. I find it's very easy to manage in a way. Um, of course, I have questions for Christy because I think there's some of mine that are getting a little like Um, I need to manage the fertility a little bit better.
It's just skinny
So
and tall.
yeah, yeah. So that's where I'm at with that. But it comes and comes and comes each year, and there's not a lot of crops that do that. So and Christie is a great gardener. She's done various workshops with NOFA over time, um, and she's just um, a great presenter with lots of information. So
Yeah. And
um,
I'm super excited to learn more from Jen. I mean,
mhm.
I do a lot of hand scale bed prep. Um, most of my work is by hand. Um, I try to keep it traditional. It's hard with the kind of farm that I basically farm because it used to be just grass. It was a
Mm,
lot of grass fed cows before us. So it's like thick, very compacted grass. And I think it was not very well taken care of. Um, so I want to hear all about it. And I am still learning carrots. They're so finicky. Um, and I'm kind of the romantic one. It's so hard to decide which carrot is the one I'm gonna
yeah.
leave from the 20 that are growing together.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions for that. And also, as always, we love to highlight our board members.
Hmm.
And she's really so active, like one of the people most active
Yeah.
um, in my board. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Same, same. I don't know if you've ever been, I haven't been to Woven Roots, but um,
I
I've seen
have.
many photos. Yeah. I've seen many photos, and maybe you can attest, like they have their systems so down.
Yeah, yeah. No, I went to a volunteer day with Sister Anna and her
Hmm.
youth, and it was like, yeah, they have it down. Um,
Hmm.
I think it's a lot we can learn from those 15 years of work. And the place is beautiful. You can tell how much care and love is in that space, and also how happy the farmers are. And I think that relationship with the farm and the earth and the people is so important. It's part of
Yeah.
you have to have people like that.
Right. Right. I totally agree. Yes, and there's and Lee Reich doing success with blueberries, and
Hmm.
Lee is a, I have Lee's book Uncommon Fruits for Every Garden, and I am always tapping into that book, and Lee has just he's honed his information on crops so well, and
Yeah.
I'm just excited for him to just hone in on one here for blueberries because I've been to his uncommon fruits workshops, which I wish I could just do annually, like every year, because it's so it's so there's new stuff every year, and I want all these fruits in my yard.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, with blueberries,
You
people
can go
struggle
wrong.
with them with the acidity and figuring out them protected from wildlife. Actually, have some.
Hmm.
Um, so
Yeah, it's
so yeah.
interesting. I This is the first year I planted blueberries, and I got the rust. So I have questions. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm.
we have
Well,
questions.
yeah, he's the one. He's the one. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we have some workshops that are looking into the soil a little bit more, the soil relationship with plants. Specifically, we have two workshops addressing nutrient cycling.
Hmm.
Very exciting topic. Um, you know, getting deep into the soil plant relationship. And one is with Janel Ohletz and another with Alexa. And I'm Don't know if I can pronounce her name exactly right. Smychkovich.
Smychkovich.
Smychkovich. Thank you. I believe that's probably right. Um, those are um, in ABCs with nutrient cycling, so demystifying nutrient cycling,
Mhm.
and then a discussion of nutrient cycling in cropping systems. And I love where this is going in our discussions and with in the knowledge base that's understanding the relationship a little bit more deep. And it's also pulling research that's been around for quite some time and experience. But I just love the understanding the cycling of nutrients.
Yeah, that sounds great. You know, I hope everybody that is going to be in this ones can bring their soil test results if they have done some soil testing. And if you
Mhm.
haven't, you should
Mhm.
go to the website and check it out. We do it all the time. It's
Mhm.
so important. But, like I think it's important also that it's not just to have the soil test because you want to know what is in there, but what the recommendations are and how to deal with them and understand what is going on in your
Yeah.
soil. Is such a treat. It's such a important piece of the relationship. And I was actually gonna say it's not just a relationship plant soil, but human, right? Like
Mhm.
we have to understand that relationship to be able to aid the soil. And she give us so much, um, and ask for so little. It's just like sometimes we don't know how to figure that out. And to this is so important,
Right.
as important as of knowing when to plant or how to plant.
Right.
So yeah, I love it. It would take, um it would definitely be a good tool in your tool belt. um
Hmm. Yeah,
I'm excited.
I totally agree. I totally agree. And a complement to that as well, which is a part of our bioremediation. We have a collection of workshops that are in the bioremediation realm, which maybe we'll talk about them explicitly at some point. But we have Marco Thomas presenting encouraging indigenous microorganisms, which is something I'm really fascinated by, um, and would love to start creating some of those concoctions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that is coming out of the natural farming techniques, some Korean natural farming, um, and it's a lot of again like very accomplishable uh, uh, concoctions that you can make yourself, and Marco can guide you into making, empower you into making your own um, concoctions to help. So I love that kind of a pathway through a workshop to actually learn and come out of the workshop to be able to make something right there.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, some of those products, if you buy it in, in the store commercially, are so expensive. I
mhm.
mean, I can't wait to be able to know what I'm buying.
Yeah,
And it's exciting to be able to share with other folks the power tool.
yeah, yeah. So let's see, we have another segment here thinking around along the lines of organizing and activism. And this begins with supporting farm mentors and educators as farmers with Jennifer Hashley. Um, and Jennifer's the director of the New Entry Sustainable Farming Project. Very exciting for them to have their own property now for the last couple of years. Um, and yeah, this is, I think, just going to be an excellent training from an excellent trainer from Jennifer. And there's a lot of farms that are starting to you know, mentor farmers, to actually become mentors to others.
Yeah, it's so exciting. This is my wheelhouse, so
Mm.
I'm like, yes, I mentor new farmers in my farm. I don't want to grow food for everyone. I want everybody to learn to grow their own food.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I think it's gonna be an exciting segue to like we not we cannot do this work alone. We need to pass it down. I think early we were just talking about like some of us skipped a generation of farming and so sad to lose that knowledge and
Hmm.
you know I think we can learn from our mistakes like the generation farmers that skip that generation to be able to be mentored by other farmers is vital to this work
Right.
and as a educator and as an education director in NOFA, I think this is what we need to do. This is exactly what NOFA is about and what has been about for 50 years now. So come to the workshop. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I think it's great to be reminded that, farming knowledge is largely a, person to person
Mhm.
tradition that gets carried on, and yeah, it's been it can get lost in generations. So yeah, it's nice. Um, yeah, I'm excited for her to be a part of it and to have her. Um, so then we have the Sustainable Development Goals and Organic Agriculture, which is going to be a very deep session presented by Elizabeth Henderson, who is a longtime NOFA member and Interstate Council um, member, and one of the founders of Peacework Farm, which I was mentioning to you. Ulum is the source of those piecework peppers that some of us have grown. I believe in the Johnny's catalog they're still carried. You can get piecework peppers. That's coming from uh, that farm where Liz worked so hard for years, as well as Saulo, Arroyo, and Cristina, Grandi. And I believe you are familiar with Saulo personally,
Yep.
as well as Cristina.
Yep. They're great movement builders around the world. So I'm excited about to hear, the stuff is happening in the global south and how that affects the effects of this work are not just in the US. So it's important to have like a global view of the struggle. So yeah, I can't wait to hear what they have to say about this because like it's no borders for agriculture. Um,
Mm.
so important work.
Yeah, I find it's always nice to connect the work that we do in the Northeast, which seems so like so small and disparate, almost like just little
Mhm.
pieces here and little pieces there. Uh, I always love when someone comes in and just reconnects everything to a larger scale and it makes sure that we're not forgetting about that.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. And like with our policy work, it's so important to connect it, connect our movements with bigger movements, and to really realize that hunger is everywhere, and it's not just for the lack of food. It's other social issues, and to have that connection that with who have access and not, which it has been a conversation we have been having in NOFA for a while now too. So I'm excited. This is one of those um, fire workshops. So
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Another one along the same lines here is Organic as a Solution to the Climate Crisis, presented by Steve Gilman. And pretty, you know, a very solid, again, NOFA stalwart in Steve Gilman, who's our policy director at the Interstate Council and has been with NOFA since the early 70s. I believe he's a wealth of information on policy, and he can speak on this level. And we love to address the climate crisis, and agriculture has a huge role to play in that. That's for sure. And the organic conversation is a rich one right now, as you and I are often discussing.
Yep.
Organic labeling, other types of farming that's, accomplished those aims in certain ways, and why we call it what we call it, etc. Those things, and so this is bound to be a really rich conversation, and on a policy level. So
Yep.
dive right.
Yeah, I think it would be good for us to demystify um, the organic label. I think it's important and have those um, strong conversations about what organic means for people, um, and what it means for us as a movement.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's not one solution to climate crisis, but it's many, and I think this is a powerful one, and one that we as a NOFA association can really push policy in the right direction.
Yeah.
Um, I can wait to hear the pros and cons of
Yeah.
what is out there to be a policy, so we can inform our members. It's important.
Yeah. Yeah, we're fortunate to have Steve, and also we're fortunate to have with us NOFA Mass Marty Dagoberto, um, always pushing us to remember and keep going, and
Yep.
doing great work on policy. Um, so yeah, that's I love having these sessions, folks that are interested, and maybe this little conversation that we just had started. Yeah, I could feel myself wanting to segue into the discussion of what organic means and what it is, and um, so have to come to the session to get into that. Yeah.
We might have to do
And then
a whole segment
yeah,
of that, maybe.
the conversation continues, and it just keeps going, really. So yeah, and it's exciting. I think it's getting really exciting as it develops further, and with the Real Organic Project and other viewpoints. So yeah, we also have here worker co-op farms, startup and conversion, which you know a little bit about.
I know a little
Uh,
bit about it.
as your name is listed here, be a part of that and hosting that discussion yourself. So looking forward to having Matt Feinstein with you, as well as others I think you are bringing on board.
Hmm. Yeah, rich conversation, and I think this is one of the new things in the conference for folks that have been coming to the conference for a long time. I think this is the first year in the summer conference that we're going to have a lot of interpreting and a lot of language justice part of it in translation, um, and a lot of presenters of color. So we're super excited about it. And this one is a very interesting conversation as we move to build a different way to manage farming and to manage the workforce. Um, so it's kind of demystifying what a worker owner is and how worker co-ops are actually bringing solutions of transition of farms. So it's not a new thing that a lot of old farmers are retiring, and it's a lot of loss of land of farming. So this is a like a really good solution to that. A good solution to losing, to try to convert. So train the workers to be owners is a good transition of of land and land ownership, and also to talk about how we see the just transition happen through the agricultural point of view, and how the stewardship of the land can be worker owned, um, and have more democracy at work. So we're going to talk about all these topics. We're going to talk about some examples of how that's been done all over the United States and all over America as a continent, and the few examples that you can support here. Be
Yeah.
exciting. You have questions?
Yeah, it sounds exciting. I get excited about the transition point because I've, yeah, there's so much farmland that's getting lost in that transition and
Mm-hmm.
coming out of farmland. And I just love that it's presenting another option for that land and that farm, another direction for it to potentially go. Because
Mm-hmm.
I think
Many.
when people come to that point, they may only know sell or develop or and just out of farming, and they might not know opportunities to transition. They might know that it exists, but not see any examples of success that it actually can. You can roll that transition into a worker-owned situation where everyone wins. I love that it's presenting another pathway.
Yeah, yeah. So we're very excited about, and we're gonna have like great examples of worker co-ops in general, not just in agriculture, but like as a cultural shift of one owner to
Hmm.
many, which is traditional. How like some of us think about the land, that the land is a commons, is a share thing, and we belong to the land, now the land belongs to us, kind of. So it also is a cultural competent for a lot of POC, BIPOC folks.
Can you elaborate on that a little more? It's
So the colonized thought about owning land, it is in conflict with indigenous tradition, or whatever ancestral tradition. I think the concept of commerce is very new in the way we see it now. So ownership of bigger, pieces of land. Before colonization was here, nobody owned the land. Indigenous people lived on the land and stored it. But um, all those borders and all these conversations about territory and didn't came until it was a fight about land. So, so I think for a lot of us that want to undo the hurt of colonization, this is a good option, um, to own a piece of land with your coworkers, instead of
Mhm.
serve in a farm as a worker where the owner is somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. That is very rich. Um,
And it's
yeah.
many models of that. Like could be owned by a land trust, can be owned by a nonprofit, can be owned. So the ownership can, in the conversation about, we could have a deeper conversation also about the options of land care and land ownership.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like learning about it and feeling it's an option. I think, even I can feel it, in myself, there's an idea of ownership.
Mhm.
And I like to think of myself as being a steward for any possession that I have, really, particularly if I steward land. But there's still the inkling of ownership, and it's really boundaried. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like being exposed to more frameworks. I feel like it's a healing experience to
Mhm.
challenge those ideas because I can feel the resistance in my own mind. Um, even though I'm like giving the thumbs up, you know, like it's really there. So I hope are interested in that and want to get the exposure, um, because it's happening and it's real, and there are viable models that are really healthy and teeming with collaboration and community and its spirit. So yeah, I'm really happy for it. And we have other workshops that are falling in this same
Mhm.
um, in the spirit of this in the same way here that we're not going to get to right now, and we'll do a follow up to this, but we have more to come on that same in that same vein. So we're very excited about that with the Indigenous Roots Forever track that we have. And as, yeah, you did mention, we do have a lot of translation happening at this conference, translating into Spanish. And we have workshops that will be presented in Spanish at this conference. So we'll discuss those in another session. And I guess that's a pretty good wrap for this session, Ulum. I really appreciate you joining in this and going over the workshops.
It's great. It's great. I'm getting so excited about it. I'm thinking about I might not be able to be in all of them. So what do you think we're gonna do about it? Tell
We
me.
are going to record them all.
Yeah, it's really I'm really excited that, you know, the pandemic brought all these things a new way. It was uncomfortable at the beginning for a lot of us with technology and such, but also we can now reach so many people. I was just thinking about, oh my God, all the farmers are working probably in some of these hours, and they might not be able to be part of the live presentation, but they can definitely, and it's a wealth already.
Yeah.
These 2 years we have recorded a wealth of videos.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, the recording aspect is great. So yeah, you can purchase the recording. We have a sliding scale this year on the registration, so from $45 on up. So it's very affordable. Also, the sessions are sort of built to accommodate farmers best as we can. Although most farmers maybe hit the hay at 7 p.m. But we're you know the workshops on Saturday and Sunday throughout the day, and then during the week they're at 7 p.m. So if the farmer can stay awake that long, they are half seven during the week. So I know that's not possible for many that are doing farmers markets on the weekends, but we did our best, and we're producing a robust program. So um, that's really exciting. There are also scholarships available. If you're still here in the video with us, there are scholarships available. So please check our website, nofasummerconference.org, and look us up for that. You can email us. You can email me, Jason at nofamass.org, with questions. And yeah, hit us with questions. And um, yeah, it's getting really exciting. It's coming so close now, and have that conference feeling. So it's good. I can't wait to see other people too on the Zoom, see their faces, and just to connect around the conference and keep that momentum going.
Yeah, and I just heard that the auction is alive.
That's right. The auction is alive. Yeah. You can bid on some fantastic items. You can find that in the registration, and on our website. You can find links to get there. Yeah, so that's really exciting. The last one we did was really, really fantastic. Some great items in there. So um,
We're gonna have
definitely.
to be in competition, even though I don't believe on it. It might get rough.
It might get rough. Yeah, I'm always happy when someone wins something anyway. So I
Yeah,
lost, but someone won. Um,
we
but
can
yeah,
share.
it's all to a good cause. I mean, it helps us continually provide education and provide scholarships as well. So the auction's always worth it. So
Yep.
win-win. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You have a nice day,
You too.
and we'll check in soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.